Hi everyone, it's the Music Reel and it's Nicola Burton from Music Means Business with you again today. I have the Pushy Boys with me again, Manny, Mark and Michael, and a very special guest today. We have Kat Swinton here from Catalyst PR. Now Kat, it's wonderful to have you here today. You're based in Sydney, aren't you?
I am, Nikki.
Yes. So how is lockdown for you? We're all up in Brisbane. What's it like down there for you guys?
Much the same as you guys. We're allowed to have two people around at the moment, which is, good. Being an ISO is, different, but also hasn't really changed that much for me because I've realised I'm in permanent isolation. But for everyone else, it's very quiet. The roads, the sky's clear, there's no pollution. There's a lot of people exercising, which is really positive because that's all you can really do at the moment. There's a lot of people cooking. I've realised my neighbours have turned into chefs now. They're bringing me around food all the time, which is fabulous. Try my new pizza. Try my new this. Have some apple crumble.
Oh, nice.
So, I think it's bringing out the best in people in a way. Kids, I'm seeing bicycles out the front of the homes again. I'm seeing kids playing in the front yard. In a way, it's been positive. It's bringing families together. They're spending quality time with their family. Whereas we have such a busy lifestyle, and especially in this digital world, it's all consuming. And I think, thank God we have the digital world because we can do things like this. But it's also made people come together and families to come together and spend quality time with each other. So
I agree. I think there's a lot of positives for this. And look, the reason why we've got Kat on today, everyone, is that a lot of you that have been working with us with your original project, Kat is the go-to publicist for us. She's the one that we believe has the strongest network. She is the most diligent, hardest working publicist we've ever worked with. She's the only one we ever recommend. And look, Kat, we really, I guess, our relationship has always been, one of frustration when we have a publicity campaign, because the challenge for you is always the challenge that we have, is trying to get the digital assets, trying to get, the right photos, the right content. So I guess I wanted to share with everyone today a little bit about that, the things that you need to make a publicity campaign happen, so that we can try and work with everyone during this lockdown to try and, prepare us so that when we're out there, released back into the wild, we're more prepared.
Yes. A publicist is only as good as what I say I have in my kit bag. So obviously I write the media release. But when you're starting cold, the more background information you can give me, the better, to write a better press release. Getting all the digital assets together, MP3, WAV files, audio grabs from the artist talking about the song, quotes from the artist talking about the song. It's always good to have that interactive piece in the media release. So when you get it to media, they go, wow, there's a quote, there's a great media release, there's a video, there's some audio, there's all the assets I need to put together a story. So the more things I have in my kit bag, the more I can send out to media and they can then connect with. If they just get a photo and a song, they go, okay, well, that's what I get from everyone. And because there is so much traffic in normal times, not so much now, in normal times there's so much traffic. There's, as independent artists, you can now release, whereas back in, the 90s, the 80s, you had to be with a record company to release music. Now you can release on iTunes, Amazon. There's so many outlets, your own social networking, your websites, your Instagram lives, all those sort of things. there's so much traffic that you need to cut through. So if you want to cut through the noise, so to speak, you have to have a point of difference, something that's quirky, something that you've made your own. It's all about branding too. So when you're branding a band, it's your business. You should be marketing your business. And if you don't build the brand, yes, there are all individual members in the band, well, unless you're a solo artist, but it's about the brand, a logo, a look, a style, colours that you associate yourself with. It's not just the performance. There's so much more to the package.
Oh, how good is that? To actually have all of that information, you guys at home, you've just had world-class information given to you. So now you can actually go out there and do what you want to do. Kat, thank you. I know the boys have got some questions for you.
Sure.
Okay, so
well, I had some questions, but you answered all of them. As you were.
So, yes, Michael.
Yeah, well, it was just about, it was basically just about what acts can do to prepare for, you know, campaigns and that sort of thing. But I think you really covered it in that. It's you know, it is all about finding the point of difference and finding out what is going to set you apart, you know, in a, you know, a very saturated marketplace as well. So, look, if people listening to this and artists out there don't understand that, then you really got to sit down and you know,
give me a call.
Yeah, exactly.
Give that a call.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more than happy, you know, with any new artist that I work with to say, to sit down and have not sit down, or Skype call, whatever, or even one-on-one if they're in Sydney, to sit down and say, this is what you need to give me, you know, and the least you give me, probably the least results you're going to get. The more you give me, the more results you're going to get. And it doesn't really matter how good a publicist you are, and I do pride myself on always getting a result. But sometimes you're limited with what you can do due to the fact you don't have enough assets to work with.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Mark.
Kat, what do you think is going to change post-lockdown for the music industry?
Well, that's we've yet to find that out, I think.
The unknown.
Because this is such a fluid situation, what I am seeing is that artists are testing technology. They've been where they've used social networks and all that sort of thing to get a message out. They'll put up a poster on Facebook and say, come to a show. This has, I think, encouraged or forced people to think outside the box. But I think we have to do that all the time, not just in this time. I think they have learned new things. They've learned different ways of communicating with their audiences. I think that should stay permanently. Whoops.
Oh.
Sorry, here we go again.
Thanks, Reddy.
I put it on silent and still makes noise. But I think we need to keep going the way we're going. But when things open up and you do go to shows, don't forget about what you were doing in lockdown. Yeah. Keep that in the mix about promoting shows, right? So whereas you'd say, okay, I've got a show on Friday night, and they put up one post and say, get your tickets. I think those days are sort of gone now. I think now it's, you've engaged with the audience, you have to keep engaging with your audience. Yes, you have a show, come and see me live, but here's a prelim to what you might get, right? So I think it's added to what we can do to engage with our audiences. So once again, in a way, it's been a good thing. And I think this will, I think each artist now will actually even think, oh, maybe we should do that as well, right? So I think combining everything. Can't wait till this is we can get out and play live again. I think Australian musicians are going to get more work than ever.
Yes.
Due to the fact that internationals probably won't be coming out here until late 2021, I would say. So I think it's a golden opportunity for Australian musicians.
Well
once
said.
we are.
Manny.
Well, look, Kat, I guess you've probably seen the same as I've seen. Probably 3 generations and 3 gene pools of fans going to see 3 different clusters or time frames of salient Australian touring artists. So for me, it's always been, you know, we grew up in that era where all the releases and the mechanisms and those means of production were actually owned by record companies, and you had to, and they were the access points to radio, etc. So from our point of view, I've always been fiercely like independent, apart from a 10-year period between the 90s through to 2000, where you know we were sort of, how can I say it, we were sucked into that whole mechanism of, you know, labels. So for me, this is the most exciting time ever for the music industry. There's a transition point here. So for me, I've always been focused on live, because live is the great bands, the musical bands, the great songs have always prevailed. Because in my opinion, a great live band, you know, will always engage a following. A great, you know, great lights, great sound, great enterprise, and that ties into what you do. So I look at what you're doing as an incredibly salient part of what we do, but also, you know, we need to have great live musicians. So it's a synergy between now the digital world and what physically happens live. So for me, I'm excited because I've always gravitated, you know, towards the musical factor, you know, that live factor as well. So that's how I see the transition point after COVID, or, you know, or post-COVID. So live bands have to be better.
Has to be better, and also you need to put on a show. I was watching the Elton John, you know, story of my life thing, and what you're talking about now makes me think of that, is that he always said, we have to put on a show. And he always delivers not only his best performance, not only his best singing, not only that, but he is theatrical. He wore crazy outfits. I'm not saying to every band wear crazy outfits, but back in the day, people became the artists, so to speak. So whilst they would be their day-to-day life, once they got on stage, they morphed into their character. Like Doc Neeson from the Angels, he morphed into Doc before he went on stage, and he became a character. He became the showman, and he gave every ounce of himself to that performance, to the point where he was drenched in sweat. He started out wearing a top hat and tails, and then got down to a shirt that was dripping wet at the end of a performance. You have to give it your all in a live performance. If you want to engage with your audience, you need to give them everything that you have to engage them, to get them to come back and see you again, where they walk away and tell their friends, I saw the most amazing show last night. Next time they're in town, you have to see them.
Yes.
So where you engage on socials now and all that sort of thing, you need to engage live as well.
Yeah,
the re-emergence of the rock star, so to speak, the David Bowies.
Everyone wants to be a rock star, right?
Barnes. Unfortunately, we've been superseded by superstar rappers who, unfortunately, most of them can't even pitch a tune. And
What a tune.
There's a marketplace for, the beauty of now is there's a marketplace for everything. I keep hearing that rock is dead. Rock is so not dead.
No.
You know, all the, back in our day, Manny, I think there were 6 genres, that about right?
Yeah.
There were 9 or
Only
10
one genre,
record
rock,
companies.
Cat. Only
There were
one
9
genre.
or 10 record companies, and there were 6 genres. Now it's the other way around. There's 3 or 4 record companies, and there's like a plethora of genres.
Genres.
So that's
exciting times. It really is exciting times.
It's really exciting times. Yeah, and as an artist now, to not be signed, you've actually got the world at your feet. You've got every marketing tool there is available. You just have to engage them, use them, and remember this is your business, and it's up to you how you get it out to the people.
I'm just loving how we have independent artists signed to an independent label, all touring, all earning money.
Yes.
You know, you've got to trade some of that profile and, you know, fame. You're not on every, you know, billboard out there, but you're actually making a career out of touring, recording, releasing, and you're doing exactly what, you know, used to happen under the mechanism of large labels, you know, many years ago. So it's an exciting time, and we're following that, you know, that's the pathway for our artists. Like at the moment, independent releases, they own everything, and it's up to them to make a career. And as I keep on, you know, harping on, our vision is a 10 to 15 year plan, you know, for an artist this year, and you can do it very comfortably, you know, and so long as you have your estate in order, you know, your publishing in order, your recordings, like your intellectual property, you know, you can have a 10, 15 year career comfortably, and then you have your assets to follow afterwards. So it's a wonderful.
And you own your publishing. So
100%.
whereas back in the day when you were signed to a record company, and how many times have we heard the story, I signed a really shitty deal, where you don't see your publishing for 25 years. Now you own your publishing, and you know, you can sync that with the myriad of games. I mean, gaming is a big thing to get music out to. You know, there's so many you know, different avenues, you know, with TV shows, with Netflix, with, you know, Stan, with all these other places that are putting together their own productions. They're looking for music, you know, so you then get the money from that rather than a record company. So
100%. Just
well,
an admin
guys, we have just been given so much amazing information today. Kat, thank you so much. You've given everyone a lot to think about. I will put all your details in the post so that people can get in touch with you. Kat Swinton is the only publicist worthwhile working with in Australia, guys. If you're serious about your career, seriously, you are. So if you're serious, I'll put her details in, and you've got someone to talk to, someone who actually knows their shit. So, Kat, thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next time.
Bye.